Okay, guys, we're going to try this live stream. Having a lot of technical difficulties. Lost a charger from my phone, so I can't live stream from my cell phone due to lack of battery. And on Sundays, apparently everything in Turkey's closed. So I don't want to risk going out and wandering looking for a place that sells phone chargers. Can you guys hear me? That's the question. Last time we tried this with the computer, we couldn't get it to work right. So again, there's 3 people that may be watching or just got the notification. Can someone tell me if okay, good. Thanks, Kyle. Loud and clear. So I guess I really wanted to recap the event yesterday. Maybe answer some questions. Okay, East versus West. So for those that don't know or new to what was going on, yesterday we had the East versus West event that consisted of maybe 11 super matches here in Yalova, Turkey, which is near Istanbul. This was a crowd-funded mostly event. We raised approximately $12,000 in GoFundMe. That was via fans. I think we had somewhere around 200 to 300 donations total, and some donations were $5. I think some donations were up to $1,000. All were appreciated. I'm very appreciative of everyone that contributed. I think in all, although we had 200 to 300 donations, I would bet at least 10,000 people saw the GoFundMe. So I would consider that a very low support percentage. I don't see why we didn't have 1,000 donations, even if they were $1. But even then, we did pretty well. So we had $12,000 come from GoFundMe and the fans. Ingen contributed $500 himself. Sarah contributed some money as well. I think she was planning to contribute maybe $2,000 or something as a sponsor, but her flights came back like astronomically expensive. So I think she contributed $500 to the event. Hardline Nutrition, I think they provided some of the TV coverage, which I assume is going to get aired in Turkey. I don't think or know if we will ever see that or if that will make it to YouTube. Let's see. The hotels were covered by a state-sponsored hotel, so we didn't pay for any of that stuff. So all in all, good team effort. I'm sure Ingen put on a couple events earlier this year, but I don't think anyone would consider Ingen a promoter. The team, me being Ingen Terzi, myself, Joshua Grant, Coach Ray. We were all athletes, and 3 of us, me, Ing, and Josh, all had matches. So for us to put this event together in 6 weeks while training for important matches and while competing the day of, I think it's a huge success. There's definitely a lot of opportunities for improvement, and I might do a whole separate show maybe discussing some of the opportunities, things we may have missed and things we can improve upon. But ultimately, hell of a day, big names, and some shakeups in some way to the arm wrestling world, or at least maybe some, right sizing, of where people are in the world. So I don't know if there's any value in going through each match. I might just hit the highlights and talk about my match specifically, depending on what you guys want to hear. Checking out some of the comments. I think someone said, and it may have been retracted, is there any after pull footage. I have some after pull footage, which is probably trapped on my phone, and you guys probably didn't hear it, but I lost my charger and closed. I mean, stores are closed today or very limited, so I don't know if I'll be able to get one. So I probably won't be able to upload that until maybe Tuesday or something. So yeah, there's after pull footage. I have some. Ray has some. Other, like probably 3 or 4 people have it. So I would expect those to be popping up on YouTube any minute now from other people, not me. Okay, so maybe let's jump into my match. We got the mystery Russian. Your opponent was too big. What was the weight difference? So I've been reading some comments about my match with F.A. Kovac, and I've read things such as I bought my way into the event. I bought my way into a match. I've heard things like I was, I said I was set up, right? And this wasn't like a hostile comment, and maybe people took it too seriously. I routinely arm wrestle people that are 300 plus pounds in the United States. I'm currently ranked number 11 in North America, right-handed at super heavyweight. Even though I weigh 230, 235 pounds. And it doesn't mean like I'm just super awesome at number 11. I think supers from like 9 or 10 to 20, those can get mixed up any day of the week. But currently I'm number 11, but I'm always pulling big guys. I've always pulled big guys. I think the first time I pulled super heavyweight would have probably been my first year in the sport, maybe 2010, early 2011. I would have pulled super heavies, and I would have been 200 to 220 pounds. So this is absolutely nothing new. But like I said, I've heard people say that I bought my way into a match and that there was a weight limit set, and this guy showed up super heavy. There was a lot of crazy stuff regarding this match. And the truth is, when we started this, I was willing to help Ingen raise the funds. I was coming off some injuries back in 2019. I competed here and there, competed with some high level guys, but not, serious training, mostly due to fear. I didn't want to hurt something, lifting too heavy. And so again, I was willing to help raise money and maybe go to Turkey to support the event and watch, and be amongst, peers, friends, maybe. Ingen said, I think you should have a match, right? And I think I definitely have a lot of respect for Ingen as an arm wrestler. And it seems he has some respect for me as an arm wrestler. So I think he wanted, to see me in some kind of a match. He asked me how much did I weigh. I said I was 235. And he said, I've got someone for you. The guy's around, whatever, maybe 275. I can't remember the kilos he said, but let's say this guy was heavier. And I said, I was unsure. And I don't know if it was really the skill level I was concerned with. I think I was more concerned with, do I even want a match? Am I prepared to train seriously for a match? And what I actually told Ingen was like, I don't want to disrespect the stage. So if you have, Todd Hutchings and Zola Webb and some of these people, and there's a certain level being set, you don't need to put me on this stage, especially if I'm not going to train and I'm going to show up at a low level. I don't like that kind of stuff when other people do it. So I didn't want to do it. But Ingen was like, no, you should do it. He said the guy's big, but he's inexperienced. And so the kind of the setup, and I don't mean that like in a negative way, but the matchmaking discussion is you have a smaller technical guy and you have a bigger, strong guy who's maybe not so technical, right? And these can make some interesting matches. So no problem. I took the match and, in doing some research, I find that the guy was competing maybe in Worlds or Europeans in 2018. He did okay. And which means, 18, 19, 20, 21. And he's probably been pulling for at minimum 4 years. He is a strongman competitor. So although he may have been in the sport for 4 years or more, that doesn't necessarily mean he practiced a whole lot or trained a whole lot on the table. So Ingen could be right that he's inexperienced. Um, I wouldn't call him inexperienced. I would probably say that if he hasn't trained on the table much, I think he just has different training preferences, right? You have people like Richard Lupke's, who has very low arm wrestling skill and mostly lifts weights, doesn't train on the table, and is one of the greatest arm wrestlers ever. So, yeah, so that's what I was walking into, and I was okay. I was okay with all that, right? And and I made some comments about maybe being set up and the guy being big and all this stuff like that too. But none of that was like really in a hostile or negative light. Um, it was more so like I've got a sense of humor, right? So you'll hear me joking about things a lot. I'm typically laughing like a maniac most of the day, you know, like normal days, like even at work. So um, that's where a lot of that came from. But when it came time to compete, I don't know how much the guy weighed. I don't know if he was 275 or 285, but he's huge. It's a big dude. And we pulled right-handed first, and sort of things went south really quick. If you don't know, in WAF rule set, you are supposed to show your opponent's thumb knuckle, right? So if an opponent has their finger, like this is illegal. They have to come down and they have to show your thumb knuckle, right? And again, you're probably not going to see this, but like if they can barely see your thumb knuckle, they'll probably, run the match. This is what was going on, right? That's all I could see was the fingernail. And this allowed him to ride really high on my hand, and it really took away my ability to not pronate, but rise into his hand. Whereas if he had to grab here, I could have gotten a much better position. And that impacted my ability to top roll. That impacted my ability to get a good outside pronation via my riser when my wrist did get taken. And I think it impacted my ability to rise up and even set a hook. It's a key part of my game. And like the ref just wasn't going to be swayed into maybe doing the right thing. And I don't think that's a problem with WAF rules. I don't think it's a problem with WAL rules. I think sometimes you get a bad referee. And I was really concerned with the refereeing for the whole event at that moment. However, I think overall the refereeing was fine. But ultimately, I lost right-handed 4-1. And I know that if I had a fair grip with FA, I would win right-handed, period. No doubts in my mind. Very strong dude, but I was more than strong enough to beat him. So it's kind of a bummer. Some of the responsibility goes to the referee. At the same time, I think some of the responsibility goes to the puller. I pride myself on taking a fair grip, getting a fair grip, as opposed to, trying to take every single advantage in the book, especially when I weigh 50 more pounds. But, I haven't watched the live stream to see what the matches looked like. It probably looked like I was just weaker than the guy from where you guys were viewing or sitting. But that's not the case at all. There were even times where I was able to get my riser and cause him to collapse into my hand. This is textbook Herman Stevens. This is what happens anytime I go against a top roller that's sort of pulling from the bottom of their hand. I see this all the time. I know how to handle it. But like I said, I just couldn't get a decent start with the guy. As for left hand, now the funny thing is when left hand comes, he gets to the table and gets I had a different referee, one, and then two, he gets a completely fair grip, right, and demolishes me. Now this is because one, he was just simply way better left hand, and if you guys don't know, I have no problem losing to a better man, and he was clearly a much stronger and better arm wrestler left-handed, and he knew it, and he took a fair grip. Right hand, he did not know this. He did not feel this way, and so he completely took advantage. But let's see if you guys have any comments or questions regarding this match. Mystery Russian, where's the rating list? I would like to look at it. I think you're talking about the In the Hook rankings. This is a North American rankings group. It's a Facebook group. So type in the Hook rankings, something like this. It's managed by Chance Shaw, and he may do it alone. I don't know. Ingen trapped me. Maybe. I don't think so. Matchmaking is extremely difficult. I think Ingen, like again, I told you, I think it was kind of the big strong guy versus the smaller technical guy, and maybe you get some interesting matches. Do I have any spoiler alerts to Gasparini and Mask? Do any after pulls or Hutchings versus one of them? Yeah, Matt and Hermes, I think they did a little bit. Todd had some good stuff. Todd and Bojidar had some good pulls. I have a video. Like I said, I'll try to get it to you guys shortly. Trey Suit, Herman, you did great. Thanks. Ketz Bond, what did I think of the rules? Ketz Bond, I think you said some crazy shit sometimes. I don't know. I try to remember the names of people that say stuff. I don't get like super triggered or anything, but like it's just kind of good to know because people will say crazy stuff one day and then the next day, they really want to be like buddy. But what did I think of the rules? The rules are fine. In the grand scheme, like overarching, like the event, I think Todd and Tony were impacted by the rules, right? Todd has more experience than Tony in this rule set, but Todd still has mostly pulled WAL for years at this point. So, yeah, I it's hard to pull these rules when you don't do it. And even though I think I may have more recent tournament experience or event experience with the rule set, most of my tournaments are local tournaments in the United States, whether they be big or small. And even when they try to do these rules, it's still loose. So it's very tough. And then Tony, I asked Tony, I said, man, when was the last time you've pulled with this rule set? He said 2005. So I think some of that played a part in things, but I wouldn't say that's an excuse. And I wouldn't say that necessarily a different rule set would change everything. The Todd match was already close, 3-2-ish. Maybe Zoloev, if they didn't go hook, maybe Zoloev could have made it 4-1. But that doesn't mean it was a blowout match anyway. So minor changes could skew the match. The Tony match, I don't know if WAL rules would have changed anything. It may have been a little bit closer, but I think Tony just went against an incredibly special person in Bojidar. Ketz Bond, were the referees good quality? I would say overall the refs were okay. I think the head referee for my right-handed match with FA was not good at all. And I don't know if he's just not good or if it was by choice. But I was incredibly worried for the event after my first match. But ultimately, that wasn't the case. And I don't know if that guy was head ref again. And I don't know if someone made a decision on that or if that's just how the rotation worked out. There were 4 referees in total. Mystery Russian. I think that Toddzilla will never be number 1 guy, 195 kg. He just cannot deal with fast pullers. I mean, that may be fair, but I mean, do we have a number one guy right now? I mean, I think you can argue that it's Zoloev. That's a strong argument. But I still don't think we have a system set up in a way to even determine who's number one. So the question would then be, who's the top 5? Who's the top 10? And like, are you a part of that group? And Todd's probably a part of that group. Does Todd Hutchings not know how to slip? He's not very good at it. I don't think slipping is as simple as I'm going to slip. I think you need to like be able to top roll to get to a good position to slip. If you just go to slip, people grab your fingers and pin you. And I think that's Todd's concern. And that's probably why he didn't go for it sooner. So, yeah. RVJ tried to warn everybody about the East wanting to make the West look bad for the event. Maybe, yeah. I mean, I don't think I don't think I can look at the whole event and say that the West got screwed, right? And I already look bad enough by saying I got screwed in one match. So yeah. Andre Davies, he is number one in the U.S. Who? Todd Hutchings? Yeah, well, Todd Hutchings fluctuates. He's mostly supers these days, so. RVJ shouldn't even speak. He said no to 2 matches with Ingen and Zoloev. I don't remember RVJ being offered a match with Ingen, and I don't know if you're actually thinking that we offered a match with him and Ingen as part of this program. His name came up first when we were making matches for this event, but I don't know if we actually talked to Rob about it. But I think we already knew that Rob was not interested in anything this summer because that's part of his, work schedule. If we do this again, which it seems like everyone on board wants to do this again, it would probably be later in the year, maybe during Rob's off season, and I guarantee you Rob will come up first again in that discussion, and hopefully we can make it work. I think Ket's Bond, I think on 6 rounds, Todd would have been the winner, but Zoloev was a bit smarter. I don't know if necessarily Zoloev was smarter. I mean, the guy just has a pretty good top roll these days. I hear you. Not my monkeys, not my circus. I hear you, but the sport needs matches that are well matched to grow. Yeah, no, yeah. You need good matches, but the truth is, it's not a science and it's art, but it's not science. And it's not math. You can't simply plug it into a calculator and get good matches. And again, FA was strong. I think if I had a good grip, I'm not saying I would cream the guy. I think you get the good match that I think Ingen wanted. And I don't think simply saying, oh, well, Herman's 230, here's a 230-pound guy. That doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a better match. No one is really great at making matches, except maybe Neil Pickup. But even then, he's been making WL matches, and those don't always turn out to be that great either. At the same time, he's limited by the roster. They say, Neil, here's your group of people, make matches. And then if Neil can't make good matches there, he has to go ask and try to get new people in, which is probably why he asked me to sign, and compete in WAL. But I always say no. So I'm not really helping Neil make better matches. Was that in every match or just in the first one in which you protested? Every single round of my right-handed super match, there was an issue. Oh, except the last one, which is the one I won. But the guy had won the super match. He didn't care anyway, so he gave me a normal grip. Let's see. Okay, Ket's Bond. For me, Sarah's match was the most entertaining match of the night. Yeah, maybe so. Andre Davies, you're lucky my boy Sergey wasn't a referee there. Yeah, I don't know your boy. Or maybe this is something, a joke that I just don't know or don't get. Ket's Bond, do you think the referee was inexperienced to not set up a fair grip on your match? This referee was like biblical age, right? He had to be as old as Methuselah. I don't know if you guys know Methuselah. I think that was from Genesis. I think he was 900 years old. So this ref must have been like his brother. Cat's Bond from the stream, it seemed that FA was a complete mismatch for you. I'm sure that's how it looked, but this guy was absolutely gassed. Like way worse than me. Again, fair grip. I don't get like stretched out like the way I was. And even if I get stretched out in rounds 1 and 2 with a fair grip, I wreck him every match after that. Alex 1750, congratulations for supporting the event, Herman. Huge respect for staying natural and still taking this match. Bad matchup. I felt bad and thought you'd get injured, to be honest. I don't know. Can you guys see that? King's move coming, maybe? This isn't the worst it's ever been, though. But it's definitely kind of locked up. I don't know, but FA looked like he could take on Mask in the after pull. Yeah, but Mask would have been like, well, FA would have been tired, Mask would have been really tired, and Mask would have been really fried, right? Like people have like different like nervous systems and like energy levels. I guarantee you, Matt Mask like flies this high and then completely craters after his matches. So I don't put any value in anything on the practice table with Matt. But FA is a strong dude. And I mean, and assuming I didn't get completely like my elbow wrecked, I mean, don't think that maybe I couldn't pull with Matt Mask and look good in an after pull. You know what I mean? But that doesn't mean Matt is anywhere close to what he is, in a real match. In the hook was John Milne back in the day. I really think it was Eric Rusin. I don't know if John Milne had any involvement with the rankings, but it was definitely Eric Rusin. And it passed along different people over the years because it's tiring, it's thankless, no pay, whatever. And it was Eric Rusin, and then maybe Josh Handelin, and then some other people over the years. I think Chris Gopi had it at some point. Alex 1750, check the official U.S. rankings at onfighter.com. Yes, so you have In the Hook rankings, which is on a Facebook group, and that is the North American rankings, which should include Canada and Mexico and like maybe Central America. And then you have the United States rankings, which is on armfighter.com. And armfighter.com has different weight classes than the In the Hook rankings, so it gives you a different look at things. All right, Yuri Makarov. Hi, Herman. Have a question. Round 2 and 3 right hand. Why didn't you try to commit your shoulder and try hook the guy? Well, in round 2, I still felt comfortable trying for my primary, which is riser. Right? It's not because I thought I was going to top roll the guy, but I was able to stop the guy the first round. He should be more tired. I may be able to cut into his bicep. This is not a bad position for me. Now, again, trying to get here is one thing. Getting stretched out here is another. But trying for this is not a bad position. Like I would probably prefer this than an outright hook. Sure, a hook is like more comfortable and standard for you, but it's also more comfortable and standard for this huge, strong guy. And round 3, I don't remember what round 3 looked like. Yeah, I don't remember what it looked like. And generally speaking, I'm not a hooker. And like I can hook when it's, here or like this, but I couldn't do any of this because he had the whole top of my hand covered. I am not a scooping hooker, supinating hooker. Any insights into the setup negotiations between Tony and Bojidar? I mean, taking a grip. I mean, I think Devin calls them negotiations, if that's what you're talking about. Right-handed, Tony was, really setting up dumped, meaning this is a riser. So like I typically set riser up. Tony was setting dumped, like low riser. And he was doing this trying to keep Bojidar out of the hook. And they were in the straps, I think, most of the matches. And there was typically a lot of slack in the strap, which can be a good thing if you're top rolling, because you get to keep, your arm away from his arm. If your arms are close, then he can chop in and get contact on your arm and shut down your top roll. So I think Tony was setting up dumped and trying to keep some space back and keep separation between the arms. All that kind of looked good. The strap would get applied and tightened, and then Bojidar would lift his elbow and come all the way around Tony's hand, which would put slack in the strap, and then the referee would retighten it, which completely negated any of the setup work Tony was doing. I really don't know the rules, like in detail for WAF. Like, can you just whenever you want lift your elbow up and come back this way and then get your strap retightened? I don't know. Okay, yeah. So the arm wrestling opinion, refs were biased, man. The dude that went against Josh got away with a lot in that Ugly Kings move. He did. Um, you know, those refs, I don't think they spoke any English, but, I gestured, towards one of them who was not refereeing. And even he agreed that the guy should have been called um, for fouls because of the way he was Kings moving. And your shoulder cannot be at like see this negative angle that goes down. Your shoulder cannot be below your elbow, or your humerus can't be at a negative angle when you are in a neutral to losing position. And the guy was in the center of the table with a downward angle. Cat's bond, yeah. I remember a lot of things, and sometimes someone says something crazy or does something ridiculous, and I kind of put it like in the back of my head. I was like, okay, this person's either disrespectful or sometimes people are just stupid. It's like, okay, this person's stupid. So I put their name down somewhere, and then like my memory's good, but it's not, these are minor things. So 5 years later, someone will approach me at a tournament, and I know I'm not supposed to like this guy. I'm supposed to dislike the guy, and I know there's something telling me I don't want to talk to the guy, but I can't remember why he got blacklisted at all. And so usually I play nice. William Astrom, is there any North American puller that you would compare FA to stylistically and strength-wise? I don't know. I don't think there was anything, specific about his style. It was pretty generic. So you could probably just pick somebody. Strength-wise, I think I was stronger than him. I could dominate the top of his hand with a fair grip, just like I do with Wayne Withers. So he doesn't pull like exactly like Wayne Withers though, because they're built differently. So whatever. The press 88. Only thing. Only thing the ref they didn't do is take control of the match. Took too long to set up. seemed like it was always longer than 30 seconds before the ref script. So that's what someone said in my matches, specifically right-handed, because those were the ones that could actually be won. The left hand, like, the dude was just better. Like, the guy was just fucking around for way more than a minute. So I'm getting tired keeping up with him. And as soon as the next match comes, 30 seconds, it's ref script. So it just wasn't done well. And the press, I can't really speak for the rest of the matches. There's a lot going on and a lot of details to keep up with. Master of the Universe, did I after pull Hermes? No. If you didn't see the matches, I get into this break arm position. My elbow gets kind of jacked up. And I don't know what's going on internally, but it may be bone spurs. It could just be general inflammation because of the bad positioning. But whatever space I think you're supposed to have in between your bones and ligaments and stuff, I think those places get like smaller after these matches, and things just don't move like they should. Like it's like tight, right? And it's just probably not good to pull those guys, especially in that situation. And there's no point. Like, I can't do anything with Hermes Gasparini. Like, no point. Ingen said he asked RVJ to pull him when Makarov couldn't pull Ingen. Oh, I didn't see that. That's interesting. The first round of Ingen versus Makarov was refereed very badly. I think the referees took side with the East Turkish pullers. Again, I don't know. I don't think I can make that as a blanket statement. And if I could, I probably should. At the same time, I told someone, I said, in the oldest Methuselah ref's defense, if F.A. Comac came to Louisiana and we did a tournament, I'm pretty sure we get the local guys to referee. I could probably say, hey, look, guys, call this perfectly fair. I want this to be the fairest match ever. And I'm sure the guys would be like, oh, okay, Herman, we got you. And they would just do what they wanted to do. What's going on, Sweden? Not my monkeys, not my circus. Maybe an English-speaking co-commentator for future events would be a good idea as well. Now, did you have trouble understanding Ray, or did you guys, or do you mean like the guy that was introducing people? I'm just not sure what you guys. Yeah, okay, I see. Or announcer. Yeah, no, I understand. Yeah, maybe so. I think that's the only problem. I don't know the announcer specifically. I'm assuming maybe he's a local guy. I don't know what he cost, or if he cost. He could have maybe he's an arm wrestler that's part of the team, and I just don't know the guy. But the thing is, you start, some things are just polish, right? And I think there's like a certain extent of polish for this type of event. We are not necessarily WAL that's trying to brand and package to make like $1 million sports league, $1 billion sports league, or something like that. So, I like Neil, and Neil would be great, but what if it costs Neil $1,000 to get there, $1,000 for his time, blah, blah, blah. And then you're sitting at, let's say, $3,000 for commentating. And that could have been another Tony versus Bojidar match, right? I don't know. Something to think about. The Press 88, how was the travel? Is it taxing? Play a part on the West guys? I don't know. I think everyone had some issues with travel. I know I did, but I think I was there early enough that it didn't matter. Matt had issues, but again, I think he was early enough that it didn't matter. I don't think Tony and Todd had many issues. They did come later. And just so you guys know, Zoloev had issues. I don't think he got to Turkey until Saturday morning, right? So, win some, lose some on the travel side of it, but I don't think it was a big deal. But travel sucks right now. I think it's hard to catch your local flight to a main hub. Like I went from Lake Charles to Houston, Houston to Germany, Germany to Turkey. I think that trip sucks on a normal basis. But you throw in all the COVID stuff, the paperwork, the stress of like maybe forgetting something or maybe your test results being delayed. I mean, just ridiculous. Uncle John's arm wrestling show. Thank you for your work in putting this card together, Herman. It was nice to see big matches again. Hopefully we'll get more in the future. I hope so also, and then funny side note, I was watching some other podcast and they mentioned Uncle John. And I said, I need to message Uncle John. And I'm even saying Uncle John. And I go to Facebook Messenger and I typed in uncle into the search bar. And I was like, what the fuck? Facebook's not going to pull up Uncle John. So then I typed in John Thompson. History Beast. Herman, I greet you. You are a great person, but tell me why Ryan Bowen said that it was a setup match for Ingen. I think definitely if you're on the outside looking in, you could simply say Herman's 235. This guy's 285. Maybe there's some supplementation difference. By default, you would say maybe don't make this match. Right? Just those variables. Size, this is a setup. I'm not saying it was, but that's why you might say that. And again, without the details, Ryan didn't know of the refereeing situation right-handed. It looks bad. Like I look way weaker than the guy, and that wasn't the case. Andre Davies says the referee I had must have been the second referee of the match with Ray and Mazahir Saidu when he made Ray pull 9 rounds. Yeah, maybe so. Not my monkeys, not my circus. I left Ryan's channel because the delay was too much. Coach Ray did a great job, but trying to balance the live audio with another channel is a pain. Oh, I understand. Okay. Catch Bond. There was a King's move on the last match of Ingen's event. A bit ironic. Maybe, but I mean, doesn't matter what personally I like or Ingen likes or whose event it is. It's not like Nazi situation where you would line everybody up and say you can't King's move. The rules are the rules. Referees have to enforce the rules. And I guess if you really want to go down that path, it's even more ironic that it was a King's move at Ingen's event by a Turkish guy who's on Ingen's team and is probably Ingen's friend, whatever. One, two, three, four, five, six. I saw a story on Sarah Backman's Instagram and Ingen's gym. There was a guy who looks like a strong man. Do you know his name? And is he a good puller? If it's the guy that I'm thinking about, because I was in the gym, I'm assuming this was the gym session we did this morning. I think his name is Mark Basile. He is from Lebanon. He is supposedly an incredible hook puller. And I say incredibly because I don't have his match reel in front of me. I don't have like a highlight reel, but he showed me some of his matches. The dude looks like an absolute train. I was told he's either beaten Krasimir in a hook. I don't know if that was a tournament or practice, but without a doubt, he's got a world level hook. Ridiculous side pressure. And no one wanted to pull him at this gym session in practice. It was kind of sad. It was like all the kids wanted to play and they wouldn't want to play with the fat kid, for lack of a better word. That is a pretty good range of motion for having just battled. Henry, yeah, I would say so. So I'm just saying, like, there is some shortened range of motion. There is some damage, but this is pretty good considering my injury history. 2018, I pulled Robbie Burnett. The first match, there was 0 damage. One match, after one hard match with Robbie, where he pulled through everything, my arm would not go past this. Like, this was like my range of motion. It took me 30 days to get it back to somewhat normal. So, yeah, honestly, good day. Like, if I have to look back, I don't like the fact that I lost the right-hand match. I don't like the fact about the refereeing. When I look at it, I was able to kind of test my limits in some bad positions, and I don't have, like, a new injury, and I feel pretty good. Master of the Universe. Will you change your training now? No, I don't. I mean, I don't think I need to do anything different. I just need to do more of what I've been doing. How do I think Tony would have done against Arthur? No clue. No clue. Trace suit. What do you think is the most important part of the drag hook? I don't know. Being really strong. I'm not like a great hooker or anything, and a lot of times even like saying drag hook, that can sometimes is an oversimplification. So I probably have to get on a table with you and really understand what you're talking about. Bond, were you super impressed by any arm wrestlers on the night? Someone who surprised you and did not think would win? Yeah, probably the Georgian lady in the lighter match against Ezra. Ezra was supposed to be unbeatable. But I don't know the details of the match. I was not involved in the matchmaking, and I don't know the Georgian lady's information. I think I have her name written down somewhere. So I don't know if the Georgian lady was like a class above and Ezra was pulling up, but I was shocked that Ezra lost. I would have lost money on that. Kreger Poutine. You're a beast. Respect from Ontario, Canada. Thanks, Kreger. Mark J, do you wish it was a round robin with winners and losers pulling? I don't know. People always say they want round robins or more matches, but then you just get more bullshit, right? So Zolowev wins, and then he pulls Inget, who's hurt. Zolowev wins, and he pulls, Hermes Gasparini. Like, and even if you had, a bunch of 95 kilo matches and Zolowev wins a match and Rob Vidya wins a match, but Rob had a war and Zolowev didn't, and then you get this kind of thing, and people are like, well, Zolowev beat Rob. Okay, but was it really worth anything? And then the people that support Rob are going to say, well, Rob was tired. And so you just get kind of a junk match anyway. The best thing would be, I think, to kind of do what WL did, and you'd have them come back month to month to month. Ketzbon, what's your next plan, next match or event? Next plan is to really just get into some routine training, go through a longer training cycle, see what my numbers look like, see how I feel, see where my weight is. And go from there. I think the plan was to do IFA Worlds in September at 95 kilos, 209 pounds, but I don't know. I have a feeling something's going to change between now and then. And I think a pro event would probably take preference if something came up. And I know Ingen's going to want to do this again, so we'll have to see. Alex, hold on. Alex 1750, for what it's worth, I would have put Jerome Lau or a bulked Jonathan Brita versus Effie. After that, only supers. Yeah, I don't like right-handed. I don't know if that even, you must mean left-handed? Yeah, maybe left-handed. Right-handed, I don't know if it even matters because I already told you I can beat Effie. And the other thing is, I mean, will Jerome Lau leave the country? And does this fit Jonathan Brita's situation? So that's the thing. You can't just make matches. It doesn't work that way. If you could just make the match you want, then Brian Bowen would have made me pull him, right? And there's lots of reasons why people don't do matches like this, right? Some people don't have the vacation. Some people don't like traveling. Some people are afraid of planes. Some people don't want to travel due to COVID. Some people don't want to lose. Yeah, but I don't know if you would have had. I don't know if there would have been any data or knowledge of FA to even think about Jerome or Jonathan. Like, no one knew shit about FA. What's the story with Todd? That was a huge disappointment. I mean, is there a story? I mean, you had two all-time great guys at 209 pounds compete against each other. Two of the all-time best hooks at 209 pounds meet up with each other. And one was well-rounded, and one pulled out a top roll, right? And that was a top roll that he probably couldn't do and didn't have when they met the last times. Oh, and Jason says, Todd didn't even try for the strap. It's different when you're up there. It's easy to say, hey, do this. Hey, do this. But you're not in the guy's shoe steps or, footsteps or his shoes or whatever. You don't know what he's thinking when he does it. You don't know his skill set. So it might have been really easy for me to come up and get a slip. But Todd and I have different skill sets, right? And even then, I still think Todd might be stronger than me just in general. But if he doesn't have the confidence or the biomechanics and the motion to get this slip out or the speed, and that's another thing, after match 1 and 2, Todd's getting stretched out. Now his hand is weak, and it makes it even harder to get a good position to slip from. Siad, dude, you really need to retire and chill back. Daniel Worley, very fun to watch. He showed great power getting that stop in a horrible position. Yeah, I guess. Mohit Kumar, they threw our natty champ to the wolves. Devil Raper, Herman Stevens, I really hope you can get revenge on that match. I talked to some of the other Turkish arm wrestlers, and I think they agreed with kind of the assessment that I've given to you here. And one asked, would I do a rematch? And I was like, I don't know. And the reason why I say that is, I don't know if there's beating him right-handed would be great, but I don't know if there's a huge gain either. He's not in my weight class. He's not particularly accomplished. He's not a WAF world medalist at 242. And if he was a world medalist, or let's have world champion at 242, I probably couldn't do anything with him anyway. And a guy that size, I don't know where he is as far as training and stuff, but if he does what he's supposed to do, if we tried to do this again in 6 months, then the right-hand match might look just like the left-hand match. So this may have been my moment in time, and it was botched. So I probably need to get down to 95 kilograms and 209 pounds and do something there. Oh, Alex 1750. Mark Basile was banned from WAF. Can't remember if he's still banned, though. Interesting. Mike Rosa, why Todd was not going to straps because it was too difficult to get to the straps. Mike Wheatley, I thought your right arm match was closer than it looked. Keep hustling. The dude was big and strong. I think you're right there with the balance setup. Thanks, Mike. Let's see here. The Press 88, from watching the event, would you change anything for the next event? Sorry if answered already. Yeah, I think I might do a separate stream on it, but there needs to be more or improved organization. It really was not I don't know. Some things were organized well. Other things, maybe the communication of it, we didn't know what our order was. It wasn't clear at first. No estimates on timing. When do you go to the venue? These things weren't written down, right? It wasn't very formalized. So that'll be improved next time. And I think there's a laundry list little things we can do to make it a higher end event that doesn't necessarily, I think, require more spending. But I think we'll have a lot of conversations, whether it be a separate live stream where I ask for your feedback, whether it be on the live, on what you thought of the live stream or what you thought of what you could see from the live stream. And I think internally between the team, we'll be having some discussions on what we can do different. Ketbon, the Georgian lady that pulled Ezra's name was Bella Plieva. Yeah, that sounds right. I don't think I was grabbing my bicep. I'm pretty sure like it must have been something like this. It was probably my elbow. And I don't think it's injured. If it is, it's very, very minor. But no, probably just general pain. Pump pills, why they put a guy 50 kilograms heavier than you. Because this is like a archetypal match. Big, strong guy, you know, and like, not to be mean, big, dumb, strong guy versus little technical guy. And maybe you get some interesting match. And I don't know Effie. He may be really smart. I don't know anything about him. But that's the thing. You get a big brute and you get a really sharp, small guy. And you can get interesting matches. Oh, and I'm always pulling super heavies. So this is like just norm. So even when they say it, you know, it's like, okay. Trace Suit, may I send you some of my matches? If so, how? Counter question, why? Richard M., how many events do you usually compete in per year? It's all over the place. I think my first 14 months in arm wrestling, which would have been 2010 and 2011, I did 19 tournaments in 14 months. And then over time that changed. When I was in California, we would go to almost all local events and I would compete because the team was there and I was the camera guy for the team. Maybe 8 events a year or something like that. And then over time, you just you can't do it. You just don't have the time, I think, life-wise to spend at these events. The events are out of control. There's too many of these small events. The quality's way too low, meaning everyone gets a trophy kind of situation. And there's too many super matches, right? And you've got these one-on-one matches with 2 guys who don't know their head from their ass. And I'm there trying to compete in the super heavyweight class, and I'm waiting 3 hours to watch a bunch of amateur super matches, right? This is absolute ridiculous. The promoters are just, I don't know if it's greed, like they're making more money because of the entry fees or whatever, but this is just, it's aggravating. And so what ultimately happens is people like me don't go to tournaments. And not that I'm all high and mighty and not that I matter or anything, but if you think there's value in going to a tournament and me being there and afterwards you saying, hey man, can you pull with me and give me some tips? You don't get that, right? The tournaments are too fucking long. There's too many bullshit super matches and there's too many tournaments. So when you go to a tournament, it's not worth your time anyway. So there's like too many tournaments, they take too long and they're useless. And then there's how many tournaments should you go to where you can have time to train, you have time to rest, you compete, you have time to recover, and then you start this cycle over again. I think I should be somewhere around 3 to 4 tournaments a year. And this year I competed in February, March, and April. And this will be my 4th event, right? In the first half of the year. That's not too bad because I'm not, you know, earlier in the year, I wasn't particularly training hard. So the tournaments were part of my training. So different ways to skin the cat. But if I was really training at the beginning of this year, I wouldn't have and probably shouldn't have done those tournaments. Or at least not those first 3. Would have been one of those 3 maybe. The Press 88, get Tony's physique. You will be killer. I will be something. That's for sure. I don't even know how long I will be something. I may be nothing in a couple of years. Let's see here. Richard M., I was happy for Josh Grant. I was also. MBK, Joseph says short notice match. I'd be curious to see a 209-pound version that maybe even cuts to 198. Just my thoughts. Thanks for the stream. Yeah, there really just hasn't been a reason, right? 17, 18, 19, I pull Zloty. I make 209. 2019, I also pull IFA the same week as I pull Zloty at 209. When there's an event that is of significance, I make weight, right? Even if life is in shambles and I'm 260 pounds, I make weight. When the WAL was ramping up and UAL was like going hard, right? I walked into WAL at 195. I didn't cut any water weight. I didn't spend any time in the sauna. I just walked in at 195. And UAL was 205. I walked in at 205. So if that stuff's going on and it's consistent, I'm in shape. Ketsbon, thanks for the stream. Very enlightening to get the point of view of the arm wrestler present on the event. Riley Neufeld, Herman, did you notice the Eastern pullers allowed to get more regrips? Bojadar's and Hermes' elbows were flying all over the place during the ref's grip and the strap. I didn't notice, and maybe I would if I went and rewatched. Yeah, so again, that may be their familiarity. It may not necessarily be that they were allowed to do this. Unless you saw Matt do it and he gets a foul. Unless you saw Tony do it and he gets a foul or a warning. I don't think that was the case. Specifically, if we're talking Matt, Tony, these are WAL guys. They are used to close your thumbs, close your hands, go. There is no, or at least there's minimal kind of regripping. So that goes back to that rules familiarity thing. At the same time, I think Hermes was too strong, and I think Boschadar was too strong. Comics Entertainment Studio, how long do you plan on pulling at high levels competitively? Will you retire around 35 or in your 50s? Honestly, I don't know. The question is, am I even pulling at a high level, right? I got to realize, like, some of my opponents, or even a lot of my opponents, the best ones, this is their job, right? So it's like, can you even compete? Like, you can go to the same tournament, but can you really compete? So we'll see. But honestly, like, if you just ideal situation, or just what you think is going to happen and how you feel about arm wrestling when you're 20 years old and 25 years old, it's like, oh, I'll do it forever, right? So maybe I just do it forever. Mohit Kumar, what was my weight during the match? What was your opponent's weight? I think I was 232 for most of my training camp. And I think if I wanted to be 220, I would have easily been 220, but I was kind of like stuffing meat down my throat to kind of keep my weight up a little bit. And like the week before I left, I started putting some carbs in. I think I was up to 240. Not that that's good or bad. That's just kind of where I was. It didn't really matter, right? And then I had some, again, motion sickness issues for multiple days, even after landing. And I want to say the day before the event, I think I weighed in at like in the evening, 231, maybe 235, fully closed with shoes. So I think I was down to 230. So I think I may have lost like 10 pounds that week. And I don't think it really impacted my performance. I think it was probably a good thing, because you get blowed and your hands blow up and your elbows swell up. So I think this was good. Yeah, Trey Suk says he's in Hot Springs, Arkansas. You don't need anything from me. I mean, you got Michael Todd there. But yeah, if you're in the area, feel free to stop on by. Our practices really aren't that organized. It's me, Jonathan, Brad, and like a couple stragglers, and I think Brad's moving back to Florida since he's getting out of the Army. So it'd be mostly, I think, me and Brita. Oh, Heat Kumar, why so many retirement related questions? I don't know, but maybe I should take the hint. Remy, you're gonna have to just watch the start the stream over and get that answer to that question. I think I've probably discussed it 2 or 3 times at this point. Riley, I agree on the super matches at tournaments. My first tournament ever, there was 4 super matches and it took forever to start. And the next tournament, there's a bunch planned. Yeah, I think at some point you just gotta boycott with your dollar, so to speak, right? There's a bullshit fucking tournament with a wasted time. It's gonna take you 10 hours to do everything. Don't go to the tournament. Think if enough people do that, they'll stop doing this shit. Timmy Turner, how do I think RVJ would have done against Zoloev? I don't know. Ray mentioned it today, and he feels it would have just went straight to a hook. And in that situation, Nod maybe goes to Zoloev because I think his hook positioning is much better. Rob's an absolute beast, but I really think Rob's going to have to pull these guys consistently before he gets to like really level up and beat these guys. Okay, looks like I'm kind of caught up on all the questions. I don't know if there was anything else. We didn't really discuss the details of all the matches. I don't know if I need to do that at all. I think maybe Ryan and Devin's kind of covered it, but we beat up my match quite a bit. So that's probably it. This might not be a bad place to stop. If you guys have a couple more questions, I'll probably wait a minute or so, take those in. If not, I'll probably sign off. Let's see here. Cool deal. We're signing off here. Thanks, guys.